have a real familiarity with tools. I grew up with my grandfather and my grandparents, and he had an enormous shed which I used to play in all the time, and I had access to many different kinds of do-it-yourself, handyman-esque. He was an aeronautical engineer in the war, and I could watch him repair a violin one day and then lay a concrete slab the next. So access to the colour that brought, and the options for my reflections upon that were there and available. So when I saw those trowels in Stuttgart, I applied my joy to them, which was to look at these mondrians and bring that joy back with me. The backpack is about the journey in itself. It's about putting colour of a journey, of a life. In some sense it can be spiritual, in other sense it can just be the hardship of the physicality, the ruggedness that's left on that object. And that backpack really resonated for me as soon as I saw it. It's a familiar thing. We know what backpacks are and how they're used mostly. And I like interrupting that knowledge with the colour. In this show I am referencing Mondrian, Sidney Nolan, and more subtly Jeffrey Smart. I'm interested in him setting up, how he sets up planes within the picture that are found in the everyday, but then the colour is maxed out and it becomes something else. So it starts to create a space in the pictorial plane, and that's integral to looking at his work. The Nolans are an ongoing inquiry, and I tend to think that although it's early for me, they're quite light, there's whimsy in them, and I tend to see that in his paintings, but also there's a hard edge of picturing the landscape, which I like. When I got these shovels, I saw them in Cowra, and they were a job lot. It was at a clearing sale, and immediately I saw the whimsy of the Nolans in them. For some time now I've been reflecting on Sidney Nolan's work. I created a work called Moon Boy, which is about the boy in the moon, painting by Sidney Nolan, and it has a yellow circle right centre. And I've looked at that painting quite a lot in Canberra. And as soon as I saw this group of spades, I realised that they were Ned's, let's say, in a humorous and whimsy and nervous way. They're kind of looking around and they know they've had it basically, but there's still that kind of play, determination to keep their heads up. I'm also interested in the yellow plane that they're on, and that is the landscape, and breaking that down as far as enjoying Nolan's paintings. Also there's a critical discussion going on between the three surfaces. Colour and humour are two things that creep up on you in language, and I think that the strength of my work is that there is an irony there, that it's humorous, but it can unfold into something greater than that. The swag has multiple meanings. It also has a dream quality to it. You sleep on it. Every man and his swag. So there's old sayings in Australia where all you need is your swag, let's say, and it's lived its life as a swag. And it's tapped into the subconscious when you're sleeping, but also a swag is a festoon or an arrangement of colour, of flowers, let's say, often grandiose. It's not used that much, that term, but that's one of its main uses, organisation of colour. The stretcher would be the most unusual thing that I've worked on so far. It's an object that has many links to people's thinking of sport, thinking about the war. It's quite an old stretcher, but as an object it's an odd one. The colours are eucalyptus leaves that have evolved and dried out. They start out as a green, they go to yellow, magenta, and all those colours go through. And that's outside, that's being in a park, that's being in a space, and I start thinking about that and then working that into the object. Well, for the past 8 years I've been solidly working for Bridget Riley, whether in her studio or installing her exhibitions, and constructing her wall paintings. And just being around an artist that disciplined and that thorough and that reflective has to rub off on you. She actually has been quite responsive towards the palette that I've used for a lot of the gouaches that I've painted, and sees that landscape. She's been to Australia numerous times and sees that in the work.